Right on.
Do I have to bang a gavel to begin? I believe so. All right, let's go ahead and get the party started for the February 21st, 2024 APC public hearing. First item on the agenda is for Mr. Burge to call the roll.
Jackson Bogan.
Present.
Larry Leverins. Gary Schroeder. Vicki Pearl.
Present.
Jerry Reynolds. Greg Jones. Bob Metzger. Present. Diana Looper.
Present.
Joy Tisher. Rabita Rasham. Say the name, please, Rabita.
Robita Rajkarnikar.
Rashkanikar, thank you. You are here, aren't you? Rashkanikar. Tom Murtaugh.
Present.
Steve Snyder.
Present.
Tracy Brown.
Present.
Jason Domkowski. Lisa Dullum.
Here.
Kathy Parker.
Here.
Jody Hamilton.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you, sir. I'd first like to apologize to everybody because you get to deal with me tonight. It's been a little while, and there's an over and under on how many times I screw up, so we'll deal with that. Item I, briefing session.
Thank you. Case S-5161 Odyssey Apartments has requested a continuance to the March 20th public hearing, and rezoning case Z-2919 Trinitas Development, a rezoning on River Road, has been withdrawn at the petitioner's request. All other cases are set to go forward.
Thank you, Mr. Hiddle. Approval of the minutes. Vicki?
I move to approve the minutes from the January 17th, 2024 public hearing as submitted.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same side? That motion is passed. On to new business. A, comprehensive plan resolutions. Resolution 2024-01.
I move to hear and vote on Resolution 2024.
I second.
Mr. Hiddle.
David Hiddle with the Area Plan Commission. The first four items on your agenda are all resolutions involving economic development areas or TIF districts. The first three are from the City of Lafayette's Redevelopment Commission, and the fourth is from Tippecanoe County's Redevelopment Commission. It is, however, related to one of the Lafayette resolutions. The role that the APC plays in each of these four is to determine if what is being proposed, whether it's projects or plan amendments, economic development plan amendments, is in conformance and is appropriate in light of the comprehensive plan. So APC's role here is one of many along the path of these redevelopment amendments. So we'll take each in order. The first, as listed on the agenda, is Resolution 2024-01. This is City of Lafayette Redevelopment Commission case number LRC-2024-10. This would add new projects to the McCarty Economic Development Area, which is a long-established economic development area on the southeast side. Specifically, this amendment to the Economic Development Area Plan contemplates the expansion of Park East Boulevard from McCarty down to Haggerty and St. Francis Way eastward to meet with Park East. This is just a conceptual drawing you have in front of you. The actual road winds and has a roundabout or two and does more than just go in a straight line. It also includes utility development and some sidewalk and trail improvements along Park East all the way south down to 38. So the purpose here again is to determine if this conforms with the comprehensive plan. And these are roadway improvements, so they're not part of the future land use maps that we typically deal with a comprehensive plan. But each of these improvements is contemplated in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and has been for many years now, which is itself a part of the comprehensive plan. So, in staff's eyes, this request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and recommends its approval. I think Dennis Carson from the City of Lafayette is here to answer any questions you might have about this specific request.
Thank you, sir. Any questions immediately from commission members? Mr. Carson, would you like to speak? You're welcome.
Good evening. Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director for the City of Lafayette. As David pointed out, this first resolution is for a project that is being jointly done by the city and county. It's going to be funded through the joint TIF districts, the Southeast Industrial TIF District and the McCarty TIF District. So this is action the city is taking through its redevelopment commission to add this particular project to its project plan. So asking for your support and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Dennis, I think it might be beneficial for the board if we just went through, if we had Dennis speak to all four at one time.
Sure.
Would that
Sure.
be acceptable?
Motion on the floor for all four.
Is that good? Okay.
I mean, there's not a motion on the floor, but
He's able to talk.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Sure, okay. So again, the first one just adds the project to the list of projects for the joint TIFs that we have between the city and the county. Then the second one here establishes what we call the Park East TIF District, which is a new TIF district within the current TIF district. It resets the time limit, the allocation area for that. It'll still be a city-county joint TIF area, but again, it resets the time on that, which is 25 years. So we are expecting with this new project of the extension of Park East Boulevard that we will see a lot of development in this area. And this will also is part of how we're be supporting how we're going to be financing the project. So we are going to be financing the project through TIF cash and through a bond. So again, having that 25-year period will allow us to have the financial support that we need for the project. And then actually, I will just skip down real quick to the fourth resolution. It's related to these two as well. And this is actually similar to the first resolution, but this is the county action through their redevelopment commission to add this project, the Park East Boulevard extension, to the list of projects in our joint city-county TIF, and also to ratifying the new Park East TIF district that we're proposing as well. So then jumping back to Resolution 2024-03, this is for a separate project that will be in the downtown one we're really excited about. It's a $45 million investment by Third Street Ventures and Barrett and Stokely for a 157-unit apartment complex that will wrap around, as you can see in the picture, the John Purdue block. So again, 157 units are parking spaces. It'll be 6 stories tall and over 5,000 square feet of first-floor commercial. And then the current John Purdue block, they're going to renovate that, and they'll have some units in there and first-floor commercial space as well, too. So we are also creating a new allocation area around this project because we are be supporting that through task increment financing, a bond. So again, that'll set a new allocation area with a 25-year lifespan that will again financially support the project. So happy to answer any other questions you have about any of these resolutions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hiddle, would you like to speak on 2, 3, and 4?
I don't have too much to add that Dennis did in that. I'll just say we do believe that the comp plan supports all of these requests. The only thing that's a little bit unusual that I'll speak to, just so it's on the record, with regard to the third one, the John Purdue block case, on this site, there is no comp plan recommendation. Even the 1981 comp plan didn't include this area. So there are a couple of neighborhood plans that were adopted as part of the comp plan that come close to this site but don't quite get there. So there's literally not a comp plan recommendation here. In that instance, you would just look at what the highest and best use would be for the property. It's downtown, so a mixed-use residential, commercial building would certainly fit that bill. So we would say in that regard, absent a comprehensive plan, that it's certainly an appropriate request.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Any questions from the commission members? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on any of these resolutions? In favor or opposition? Well, we'll make quick work of this. So we are voting on Res 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll turn them all in at the same time, if you would, please.
And I'm not sure they've been all moved yet, have they? Did we
No.
just
Good call.
move the first one?
Thank you.
You can certainly do that, but
That's one screw-up for you guys keeping track.
So you want me to
you can move them all.
Okay.
That's fine. As long as it's clear you moved all 4 of them, you're voting on all 4, that's fine.
Okay. I would like to move in here that we vote on Resolution 2024-1, 2024-2, 2024-3, and 2024-4.
I second.
We have a yellow ballot. We have 4 of them, in fact.
It's one for Tom.
Definitely one for Tom. I think we can hear these last three at the same time.
I like that idea. Let's hold the whole meeting at one time.
It did, it did. I'll show you the maps that we have.
Thank you, sir.
We did previously.
Okay. And we'll duplicate those. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. We have it.
Don't worry, we'll be
I'll fill mine out for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Well, and we just caught a third, so this is getting exciting.
I got the assist on this one, Tom.
You're good.
It was a test.
All ballots cast, all ballots in favor.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a step back in time to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
You-
I need to make a motion to approve those minutes as submitted. Sorry, you got the B team tonight, kids.
That's all good. I'll second that motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting, the minutes from the prior meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Now on to the public hearing, where I get to read our meeting procedures. For those of you unfamiliar with our procedures, the commission would like you to know the following. When we hear a request to subdivide land, we are only concerned as to whether the actual drawing showing the division into lots meets the technical requirements of our ordinance. The question of appropriateness has already been determined. Anyone wishing to make comments or provide us with the information regarding any subdivision petitions will be given the opportunity to do so. When we are hearing a request for a change in zoning, we are trying to determine if the new zone being requested and the uses allowed in that zone are appropriate to that property and supported by the comprehensive plan. With each case being heard, our staff will present its report. Then the person requesting the rezone will be given an opportunity to speak. Following that, those of you wishing to speak in favor of the rezone will be recognized, and then those of you who oppose it will have a turn. This will be your only time to speak. The person requesting the action will be allowed a rebuttal. Plan Commission members will then ask questions and finally vote. Please limit your statements to no more than 5 minutes. We ask that you not repeat what others before you have already said. We are a 17-member body, and the majority of 17 is 9. Regardless of how many commissioners are actually present, at least 9 votes in favor or 9 votes against are required for our action to be official. If fewer than 9 of us agree either approve or disapprove the action, that case must be heard again next month. Our vote on a request to subdivide is final. Our vote on a request to rezone serves as a recommendation to the appropriate city council, town council, or county commissioners, who must ultimately decide on changes in zoning. When addressing the commission, please state your name and address for the record. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. If you need to make a call, please step out of the room before using your phone. All exhibits presented to the commission become the property of the commission.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application to be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of Area Plan Commission, the application and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendations on the applications to be heard this evening and responses from the checkpoint agencies.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We're ready to hear the continuance.
I move to continue S 5161 Odyssey Apartments major preliminary to the March 20th APC public hearing at petitioner's request.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Rezoning activities.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2918 JHS Investments Group LLC NB and R1 to NB.
I second.
How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. All right. So our site here, here's general location. We have kind of a split zoned area. We have NB, R1 zoning, and they're seeking to essentially consolidate it under one district, the NB zone. So you can see we have commercial zoning in the vicinity, a large area of GB there, and then we have residential and ag zoning surrounding the subject property. So the property was rezoned commercially back in 1970, the half that is zoned commercial, later changed to the NB zone in 1998. The site currently has a small convenience store on it and, its associated parking lot. There was a variance granted in 2023 for improvements to the non-conforming building, but by our scan, it didn't look like the work's started yet, so petitioner can probably speak to that. Obviously, we have a lot of residential surrounding the area. Obviously, we have type C buffer yard requirement for sites abutting the residential if they were to come under development. Public utilities are available, public water is available, and there is a commercial septic, I believe, for the site. Basically, the comp plan in this area recommends residential zoning. This would be the 81 plan, so obviously a bit out of date. But this site has been used commercially for many, many years and appears to have a certain stability to it. So the proposal, I believe, is for a gas station. We'll let the petitioner elaborate on that part. And the NB zone could accommodate that. As opposed to GB, which allows even more intense uses. So we feel, given the commercial history of this corner, this upzone of the east half is not out of whack, so to speak. So we are recommending approval of this rezone. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. O'Gara. Petitioner?
Good evening, Kevin Riley with RTS Law, representing the petitioner, JHS Investments, which is also the owner of the property. I do know you have some letters that you received. I'd prefer to address those in rebuttal unless you want me to do that as part of this. But
at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. So as mentioned, the site is currently undeveloped, the lot next to the convenience store. It's a gravel lot that you can see it's clearly in need of some improvement. The petitioner plans, with respect to what they plan to do, they're going to install a canopy with 2 gas pumps. So there won't be a new building there. It'll just be the canopy with 2 gas pumps at that location. This, we think, will be an improvement to the current site, much like the repurposing of the building was an improvement to that site. Like the existing convenience store, we anticipate that the clientele is going to be primarily people in the neighborhood, which as a result of that, we don't anticipate an increase in traffic, significant increase in traffic, and don't expect an increase in foot traffic, especially since these are gas pumps. There would be no reason for foot traffic to the gas pumps except in the case of an emergency. So with respect to traffic, we don't think it will have an impact. The lights for the canopy will be directed down so that they don't flood onto the adjacent property, and then when the convenience store closes at night, the gas pumps will also be turned off, so those won't run 24 hours a day, and then the lights would be turned off as well. The lot will be developed so that there is enough room for cars to basically travel around the canopy so that they don't have to back out onto 500 South. So avoid that. As Ryan mentioned, there will be a buffer yard requirement. We have talked to the neighbor at 5,000 Autumn Lane about the vegetation that would go in that buffer yard. We understand that there's certain vegetation, the arborvitae, that they don't want to see, so we're happy to work with the neighbor and if this is approved on something they would prefer to see that meets the ordinance. We agree with the staff's finding that neighborhood business is an appropriate zoning for this site. And I just want to mention, because this business is so reliant upon neighborhood business, we understand the importance of being a good neighbor here. So if we're not a good neighbor, frankly, the business won't survive at this location. So just wanted to add that. Again, we agree with the staff's conclusions, and we request your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Is there any questions thus far from the commission? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak against? Yes, sir, if you'd come up and name and address for the record, and then we also have a sign-in sheet over here next to Mr. Hiddle. If after you're done speaking, you could sign in there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you
for hearing me this evening. My name is David Brown. I live at 5,000 Autumn Lane. My property is just east of the property that they're proposing to put the gas station on. I strongly oppose. I've got a lot of things I could say. I don't really know what exactly to say other than I don't want a gas station next to my property. I've been living at this location for 30 years. I just completed building a brand new garage. I plan on living there the rest of my life. That was my plan. It is a neighborhood, single-family homes. You know, it is a business that's there now. There's been many businesses there in that particular building. It was a water softening business when we moved in there. And you know, his mention about foot traffic and car traffic is not true. The car traffic is significantly more than it was in any other business that's been in there. The foot traffic is significantly more than with any other business that's been in there. They continue to gain in that. And I understand I can't do anything about the businesses there. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them putting something other than a gas station there. You know, I asked Mr. Singh, would he like a gas station put next to his house? And there was a very, very long pause. I mean, no one really wants a gas station next to their home, you know, in the neighborhood. Like I said, I've been living there for a long time and want to stay there. I've got concerns about safety. I've got runoff. I've got noise, and you know that the property is already 2 feet taller in grade than my land is. You know, where's everything going to go? What happens when someone spills some gas? Where's that runoff going to go to? You know, there's a septic system of the property just due south of them that is basically on, or not a septic, excuse me, a well. It's just on the property line. And I know that what used to be in the property that they're wanting to put a gas station used to be a natural gas pumping station. I know the gas pump or the gas lines that are under there, so they have very limited space. They can even put tanks under the ground. And I realize they haven't gone far enough to have permanent plans. I mean, I know they don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, which would be nice to know all of that, to kind of get a better understanding what they're really wanting to do there. I personally don't see any way close enough room to do what they want to do, to have turnaround. All of their delivery trucks, and they get delivery trucks every single day, all of them pull in that area to unload their stuff. I'm not sure where that's going to happen now unless they're parking out in the street. And that's all they're going to have a chance to do, because they're not going to be able to pull over there where the gas pumps are at now. So, you know, that's a big concern as well. I'm not opposed to business. The the Singh family has been extremely nice to us. I mean, they're wonderful people. I mean, they really are. This is nothing but other than, I just don't want a gas station next to my house. I mean, that's real. I don't know how to put it any more than that. I mean, I could give you a lot of facts. My wife and I have thought about this a lot. I mean, it's just not something I want to live next to. I really don't. The smell of gas, the possibility of a fire. There's just a lot of things can happen there that aren't positive. If he wants to put another business there that's not a gas station, I'm pretty certain I probably won't have a problem with that. I mean, I know he's going to put something there. I understand he wants to make money. He's got a lot that's empty and wants to make another income on. I understand that. There's nothing I can do about that, and I'm not going to try to do anything about that. That's not my purpose. I just don't want a gas station. That's, you know, when he mentioned to us, and he may say this, that originally we said we were okay with it. That's been many, many months ago. I truly, honestly, no way thought that there ever could be a gas station in this property. I thought there is no way there's enough room you could ever put any gas pump on that property. And I know that where they're going to dig the hole for those tanks is well beyond me. I mean, I know, like I said, I know there's a pretty huge easement on the property, and for a very good reason, because there's tons of gas lines underneath that, natural gas lines underneath that property. Because and fortunately, the gas pumping station was taken away, because that was certainly a concern as well. But like I said, I guess really that's really all I have to say. It's just a lot of things that can happen when you're next to a gas station, and the foot traffic we're dealing with. I know he says he'll put up a fence, and I believe all that. I believe everything. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Is that your house in the picture there?
Mr. Brown?
Is that the yellow, the pale yellow, I believe, on the far left? Is that your property? Is that your building?
That's my garage.
Okay,
That's my
thank
brand new
you.
garage. Yep.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this petition? Any questions as of now from the commission members?
So, Kevin, is there an easement, a natural gas line easement through the property?
Is there an easement, do you know?
Shouldn't be through the property. I think it's on the side of 230.
It runs along the side of the road.
It runs.
There is a gas line easement in front of the property. It takes the first, I believe, 40 feet on the front of that property. So the whole front 40 feet on the property is actually a gas line.
Okay.
The rest of it is not.
So it runs east and west, not north and south?
No.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Rebuttal, Mr. Riley?
Just a couple of things. So we did share the site plan with Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown. We actually had a phone call with them a couple weeks ago to kind of talk about their concerns. So we understand their concerns, but we felt like we have addressed them, and we've been open about what our plans are with them. I mean, he indicated they're okay with business at this site, which would be a neighborhood business zoning, not a residential zoning, and we are here to rezone to a business designation. So he doesn't like this use, I understand, but the zoning, specific zoning is appropriate for this site. In terms of safety, I don't know if they still run a daycare at that site. I know for years they ran a daycare there. To the extent safety is a concern, you've got the buffer yard. If you've got kids on a playground, that playground would have to be fenced. I believe the playground area, if it's there, is fenced. So, I mean, there are safety precautions in place. There's also going to be an improved entrance, so we don't see that as safety as an issue. In terms of vendors, the plan is to have vendors start parking on the west side of the property, so away from the Browns' house. And that's really, I think that's about it, but we think that this is an appropriate zone, and has been mentioned a couple of times, there have been a lot of businesses at this site. It's been a business, used for business for a lot of years, and we think it's appropriate to kind of formalize that here. So, thank you.
Quick question for you, Mr. Riley.
Yes.
Will there be a new curb cut off of 231?
There would be an access Oh, off of 231?
Yes.
No, not off of
So
231.
we're just going to have the one access?
Right,
Okay.
right.
I got a quick question, Mr. Riley, if you would. We're still talking about 2 pumps here, correct?
Correct.
That's the max, and about 3,000-gallon gasoline tank, plus or minus the size?
We can't put any more than that, and plus, since we have a limited timing when we open, because right now we open from 6 a.m. to 10
Why don't you come
p.m.
up so they can
And
hear you.
that's what we're planning to be at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I-
Because the neighborhood.
I was
and the-
inquiring about the size of the gas tank
Yes, sir.
itself.
Just 2 pumps, just to cover the neighborhood.
Okay.
And I was telling Mr. Brown that we cannot compete in terms of pricing. So nobody from 231 or 231 can come to us because of the better pricing, because we're going to have so little volume that
The
we can't
volume,
even
okay.
purchase it for the price that they can sell it at, so.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So one last question. Any work going to go on at the building itself, or is it going to remain as is?
The building was improved when we did when we requested the variance, so the building was developed at that time, and so there will be no changes to the building, sir. But we will increase the parking area on the west side of the building to actually accommodate the bigger trucks that's going to do the delivery. So everything on the east side is because we're going to change that to pumps, so we don't want any trucks or any delivery trucks on the east side, so it'll all be on the west side right now.
And what are you prepared to do in terms of limiting light pollution? Is it,
We have only 2, because right now, I don't know if we have any pictures for the nighttime of the property. We have only downlight. We don't have any floodlights, and we are doing the exact same thing that we propose. We're going to do some downlights. They're just going to come down on the pumps. Nothing, no floodlights, none of that. So that way it keeps that area, because right now we have the same thing around the building. We have a whole bunch of downlights that if you drive by at nighttime, you won't see any light,
so no lighting on the canopy itself, then?
And no lighting, just a downlight, yes, sir.
Can
Thank
you
you.
remind me what will be between that lot and Mr. Brown's house? There'll be some sort of
It would be a buffer yard.
a buffer yard,
Yeah,
and
buffer yard.
that's mainly vegetation?
We had requested him, we had asked for arborvitae. He said that's something he won't prefer, but whatever he prefers, we can have that
But
conversation.
yes,
Thank you.
vegetation would be on that, yes.
Yes.
Kevin, could we get your client's name for the record?
Sure.
please?
Yes. Ripam Singh.
Thank you.
I have a question. For a tanker, when to come in to refuel, how are you going to fit in there?
Most of the tanks, actually the tanker entry, we haven't figured out technical DLC, but tanker entry probably would be on the west, is that the west side? On
Also
this-
off 231?
Oh, no, it'll be actually on the west side, the entry, so it'll be in between the gas tanks and the building. So that's all will put the entry, so the gas tanks, to the tank, and tanker can go in there, put on the west side, and just drive around and go out. Yes, sir.
And Kevin, so you talked about 2 driveways, one in, one out, I'm assuming? Is that correct?
Well, there'd be the driveway on to the east there would be an in and out driveway, right? That's how you
Okay.
have it set up.
So,
Yes.
okay. And then would the driveway on the current location site, will it be more clearly defined? Because it's kind of the whole width now.
Right, right. I think we can clearly define that.
Yeah, we're going
better
to be
than what it
working
is.
with the highway
With
department
that, okay.
to get that cleared up, to figure out what will work best on that side.
Because it's
Yes, sir.
fairly close to the intersection,
Yes, sir.
which
Yes,
is,
sir.
yeah. Okay, so, and I'm sorry, the parcel that we're talking about, where the gas pumps would be, would have would have one entrance and one exit. Is that what you're saying? Or
Right, and
just
in and out.
Just one?
Entrance, exit. Yeah,
Okay.
there's one curb cut.
Okay,
Does that
okay.
clarify?
Please.
Thank you. Have you already discussed the proposal, site plan proposal with the highway department at this stage?
I have not. Have you had a discussion with them?
We haven't had a discussion yet. We wanted to get all the zoning requirements done before we went into actually the planning phase of it. So I want to work with the architect, see what works best after that. And then with the architect, then I'm going to start working with the highway department to see which areas would work best, so that kind of minimizes all the traffic flows and all the other stuff. So I haven't involved an architect yet at this stage, but once I involve the architect, I'll be talking to highway department and other departments as well.
Can the petitioner give us a ballpark of the length of that frontage on 500 South? Is it-
That's something that highway department would have to finalize
You
what
don't-
works for them. So it's something that the highway department will work with us, and I think there's a minimum and a maximum that they allow on a neighborhood.
Right.
And that's something that they'll be determining on their
Thank you.
permit.
Are you talking about the width of the lots?
Mm-hmm.
The lot that we are seeking to rezone is about 99 feet in length. I would assume the one next to it's about, I didn't measure it, but I assume it's about the same.
What is the depth?
The depth is about 96, 97 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions from the commission members? With that, we have a yellow ballot.
Is that old 231 even the state's property anymore? The old 231 highway, is that still the state's responsibility? Yeah. Here you are, sir. Thank you. Yellow ballot.
Thank you, Brian.
Mr. President. You walked by. That was such a power move, man. I know, yeah.
What's our majority number tonight?
9.
Thank you. We have 6 ballots recommending approval, 5 recommending denial, so we will have to rehear.
Just so everybody's clear, so this will be heard again next month. At that point in time, if there is still not a conclusive vote, majority is 9 either way, then it will then be passed on with a no recommendation to the appropriate body. Correct?
That is correct.
I should get one of those mistakes back for remembering that.
Down to 2.
Yeah. We'll mark it.
On to Z2922.
I move to hear and vote on Z2922, W and W Lafayette Properties LLC, GB and I3 to I3.
Second.
Petitioner? Or, not petitioner, excuse me. Staff, how are you?
Hello, Amanda Esposito, APC staff. So we are on the southeast side of Lafayette here in the triangle that is formed by Concord on the west, Sagamore on the east, and Haggerty to the south. The property in question is at the end of a small industrial park along Rascal Drive. This is the kind of last segment of this drive that has remained GB zoned while the others are all industrially zoned. This area has seen a lot of commercial and industrial zoning over the past couple of decades, going both ways, GB to I3, I3 to GB, and so on. I believe, intent is just to finish out this industrial park, maybe doing some subdividing of the property here so to attract some smaller industrial users, but I'll let the petitioner speak to that. The land in this request is unimproved currently and has remained unimproved as in its current GB zoning for a while. So staff is in support of this going to industrial to, as I said, kind of finish out this industrial park in this area. So we are recommending approval, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Petitioner?
Good evening, Kevin Riley with RTS Law representing the petitioner. As mentioned, the plan is to, or the request is to rezone from GB and I3 to I3. There is some floodplain to the south that is not involved in this request. The current plan is to subdivide the ground into 6 to 7 buildable lots. That's not binding at this point, but we did want to give you some idea of what the plan was there. We think that I3 zoning is appropriate for this site and meets the requirements of the ordinance. We agree with the staff's recommendation and request your approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the commission members at this point? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Opposed? Hearing none. What's the letter, I think? We do have a letter. Oh, wait. We'll give it a minute as we have a letter so everybody here can read the letter. Just to let the audience know, the letter is from a neighboring owner that is in favor of the petition.
Favorable letter. Would you like to see it?
Thank you. One last time, any other questions or questions? With that, we have a yellow ballot.
We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you. C-2923.
I move to hear and vote on C-2923 Scott Loeb's GB and A to GB.
I second.
Okay, we have another kind of historic rezone case here. As you can see from the site, we'll stay on the zoning map here. We, again, have another split-zoned tract. The GB zoning dates back to about 1970, I believe. I believe there was a legal description issue at the time, and anyway, it resulted in what this looks like. The site basically right now contains a large building owned by the petitioner, used for an office and storage space. The rest of it's undeveloped, as you can see. Access to the mobile home park to the west is through this property. It's obviously located off US 52 west, rural divided primary arterial. The property sewer is available from American Suburban Utilities. It serves the mobile home park and the office presently on the site. Water is also available on the east side of 400 west. Stay on the map there. A type B buffer yard is required, so if this were to come under development, where GB abuts the residential side. So let's see, I'm sorry, where it abuts the A zone, and then the 30-foot buffer yard is required for the residential zone. Basically, the utilities being available on the site and the fact that it's been zoned commercially, at least the majority of it, and used essentially in a non-residential fashion, has sort of proven itself to staff. Even the draft Wabash Tippecanoe Township's plan essentially would support this rezone. Obviously, its recommendations aren't official, but for what it's worth, you're going to see it next month. So with that in mind, staff felt very comfortable recommending approval of this. And again, utilities really is the key, that there's not, this isn't some sort of leapfrog development or anything like that. So, so we are supporting it. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Petitioner, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Bogan. Chris Shellman, 250 Main Street. I've got Wayne Law here on behalf of Petitioner Scott Loads, who's here in the room tonight as well, along with Tim Byer on his behalf. As Mr. O'Gara stated, this is sort of a remnant piece that originally was Zone GB many years ago and facilitated the sales of mobile homes out of that area. The resulting property is the former office and now used for office and storage, as he stated, and will clean up and provide some consistency to the corner with the R2 to the north and the mobile home park to the west. We'd be happy to answer any questions, but respectfully request the recommendation of approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schoen. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Opposed? Any questions from the commission members? With that, we have a yellow ballot.
We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you, Ryan. Administrative matters? Thank you. Approval of the March Executive Committee agenda. No new subdivisions filing were received, so nothing to do there. Determination of variances. Area Board of Zoning Appeals.
I move that the following requests for variance from the Unified Zoning Ordinance are not a request for use variance prohibited from consideration by ordinance and statute. BZA-2141 Stein Barn LLC and BZA 2143 Tomish Developers LLC.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Director's report.
Thank you. The director's report was distributed yesterday afternoon, and I don't have anything to add, but would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Just a comment from me. I actually enjoy reading the director's report, so thank you for the format you put it in and the concise. It's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Citizens' comments, grievances? Not one? Okay. With that, we'll take that motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Good job. There you go.
Good job, Jackson. All right, help me out with 655.